Welcome back to Microsoft Project. This is the third video for lesson 2, and we are establishing material and cost resources in this video. So earlier we were talking about how there's 4 main types of resources that you're going to run into. People and equipment, which are both types of work resources, and then we have 2 other types of resources, material and cost. So what is a material resource? Well, I have a little Pac-Man symbol that I made to symbolize material resources. Material resources is basically stuff that gets used up in the project. So you can remember that because the little Pac-Man is eating up the pellets. So this is stuff that you have to have on hand in order to complete a certain task that's actually going to be used to complete the task. So if we were building a house, lumber or drywall might be our material resources. We need to have so much lumber on hand and we're going to use it up. It's going to disappear, basically, be used up as we go through our project. If you are making a book or something like that, it's a printing project, you are going to use up paper and ink. That's what your material resources are going to be in that scenario. And it's really important that we account for this as project managers because it's going to affect our final cost. This is the stuff that we need to have budgeted in addition to the salaries that we're paying for our people resources, right? We need to have a correct estimate before we begin our project of how much of these resources we are going to use up. And then we need to monitor that those resources are being used efficiently as we go through our project. So let's take a look at how we add material resources to our resource sheet in project. Here we are back in our Don Funk Music Video 2M project that we're using as an example, and we're starting on page 44 with establishing material resources. We're just going to hit the next empty cell after the previous section, so we've got all of our work resources already established, and now we are going to enter DVDs. So in order to make our video, we have to record it on something. And in this case, we are using DVDs to do so. So when we hit DVD in there, again, project is going to use work as the default type, but we need to go ahead and change that because this is not a work resource. This is a material resource because it gets used up. So when we change that when we change that type to material, you can see that there's some different things that are going to happen. A material resource is not going to have max units. But it is going to have this material label field. So in this case, on the bottom of page 44, we're going to type 2-hour disk. And that's just a note for ourselves to know what we're measuring those DVDs in. So we're not doing it as a package, we're doing it as an individual 2-hour disk. So now that we've entered our material resources, we are going to establish our cost resources for our project. A cost resource is a resource that doesn't depend on the amount of work of a task or the duration of a task. It's just something you basically have to pay for. So this is something that you need to account for in the end, but it's not going to really help you get more work done, I guess, is the case. It's just going to cost money. And so that's how we enter it in terms of actual cash. It's not going to change the time frame or anything, but it is an expense that you have to account for. So here's some really good examples. Like if there's travel associated with this project. So for our Don Funk music video, if scene 1 is going to be filmed in one location and then scene 2 is going to be filmed in a different location, the expense of moving the people and equipment is just an outlay that we're going to have to pay. So the cost of those travel accommodations and those plane tickets, things like that, would be a cost resource. Likewise, catering for meetings. So it's something that's going to cost money that we've got to do in the course of this project. So we have to account for that expense, but it's not going to really, no matter how much we pay, it's not going to really make the project get done faster or affect our other resources in any way. Hope that makes sense. So as you might suspect, back in the Don Funk music video project, we are going to enter a couple of cost resources here. So we're on the bottom of page 45. Our next resource is going to be travel. It's just something that we have to account for. And the other one is going to be food. And we are going to select cost for each one of those resources. And you can see that the defaults change of what project automatically enters for those resources depending on the type that you select. So that is entering material and cost resources into project.